It's 25 past 7 on this Tuesday morning, the morning after the inauguration of U.S. President Donald Trump. Didn't impose tariffs that first day. In fact, he didn't mention Canada or the northern border, and there was talk later in the day, though, of tariffs coming February 1st. Well, Chris Leahy from Whitby and Rowena Santos from Brampton are behind something called From City to City. It's a campaign aimed at showing the potential devastating effects of U.S. tariffs on our local economy. Both Chris and Rowena are town councillors. They targeted some of those ads at people who attended the inauguration yesterday. We've got Chris and Rowena on the line right now. Good morning to you both.
Yeah, good morning.
So, Chris, what did you make of that first day in office and what Trump had to say about tariffs?
Well, relief that they didn't put the tariffs on day one, but also concerned that the new date is now February 1st. So we got to double down our efforts in getting our message across to people in the U.S. and municipal councillors in the U.S. that tariffs are bad for the local U.S. economy and the Canadian economy for jobs, like our local jobs. People around here in Whitby and Durham are definitely concerned.
Rowena, what was the campaign? Tell me more about that you launched yesterday.
So it was launched yesterday targeting the attendees of the inauguration for Donald Trump. It's an ad campaign that shares the local perspective because ultimately trade wars are going to hurt local economies the most. When a plant shuts down in Brampton or Whitby or in Sudbury, the cities and job losses will feel it the most. So we're trying to communicate to the U.S. representatives at the inauguration that their local economies are also going to feel it in the exact same way because our economies, regardless of the border, we are interconnected. We depend on each other for supplies of different goods, whether that's through mining or auto parts or electricity. And the impact or retaliatory efforts here in Canada, they're going to feel those local job losses as well.
Chris, what impact would a 25% tariff have on your community?
Well, and Whitby and Durham, 10% of our economy is manufacturing. Like we got the GM plant, we have a huge number of auto parts and all of the subsidiaries that support that. So it would slow down jobs. It would lead to layoffs. It would lead to small businesses, their costs increasing with all the inputs increasing with the costs coming across the U.S. And the other piece is that Whitby lives between the two huge nuclear power plants, right? So we generate a ton of electricity and export that to the U.S. And as Premier Ford said, if the tariffs go online, the power goes offline. There'd be a significant impact on our community. And that's why it's so important for us to not sit idly by and just hope the province or the feds come around and get that message across. With a bit of a vacuum in Ottawa with everything that's going on, Rowena and I were happy to step in and basically create a campaign that reached municipal councillors in the U.S. to try and put pressure on people in decision-making powers. Like our geofencing technology got all of the phones that were around the inauguration, the lobbyists, the decision-makers, the politicians, to try and get that message across that tariffs are really bad for the U.S. For 36 U.S. states, their number one trading partner is Canada. It makes no sense to do this to your friends.
Do you think you're really going to make a difference, Rowena? Donald Trump is going to do what Donald Trump wants to do, isn't he?
Yeah, probably, but we're taking a Team Canada approach. When residents call their local officials to deal with issues related to garbage or potholes, they also call us on issues related to immigration and citizenship and the economy. Many of our local offices have economic development offices for a reason. It's because business investment first come to the various cities looking for places to invest. And so, whether or not Donald Trump is listening to me and Chris, ultimately, I'm sure he's listening to all of Team Canada, whether that's Doug Ford or the Prime Minister or the leaders of the opposition and third parties, or mayors and councillors across the entire country. It's a Team Canada approach here.
So, Chris, what's the next step?
So next step is look for other areas in the U.S. where we can target the decision makers. We got to double down our efforts and look at increasing those ads. And as we ask municipal councillors across Canada to join our campaign, they're going to be the ones also reaching out to municipal councillors in the U.S. so we can put influence and pressure on Washington to let them know there's going to be a huge impact to the local economy in the U.S. with tariffs. So we have to double down with those tariffs, because really the U.S. will be needing to buy a lot of candles if we shut down the power.
All right. We're going to leave it there. Appreciate your time this morning. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having us, Michael.
That's Chris Leahy, regional councillor from Whitby, and Rowena Santos is a city councillor in Brampton, and they're behind a campaign called From City to City. It's an anti-tariff campaign. And we're going to talk more about Trump's inauguration in the next half hour of the program.